Commission. Those involved in elections or vastly knowledgeable about election management understand the conduct of elections and what it entails. I will forever cherish the support of successive secretaries and staff of the Commission nationwide. Together, we innovated and managed the Commission's enormous responsibilities, sometimes on the verge of breaking down. I also enjoyed tremendous support and goodwill from members of the National Assembly, particularly successive chairmen and members of the committees on electoral matters. So too, from political parties, the National Peace Committee under the chairmanship of our respected former head of state, General Abdulsalami Abubakar GCFR, friends from the civil society, the media, and the labor unions, particularly those responsible for electoral logistics by road and by sea. I must also appreciate the development partners for their support. The security agencies have been exceptional in securing the environment without which the conduct of elections will be impossible in some locations. I also thank my colleagues from the university system who played critical roles at the various stages of elections. I must also appreciate the National Youth Service Corps, the NYSC, without whose participation the management of election at polling unit level will be a nightmare. Young Nigerians serving in the NYSC are among the most educated and most patriotic and also most knowledgeable election officials I have worked with. I also thank my family for their patience and support throughout the last 10 years. Above all, I thank Nigerians for their comments as well as criticisms, which encourage rather than discouraged us to persevere. Today, we are presenting 2 books to the public. The first, entitled Election Management in Nigeria, 2015 to 2025, is a compendium of all activities carried out in the last 10 years under my watch. The second book, entitled Innovations in Electoral Technology, 2015 to 2025, more specifically dwells on the new technologies introduced by the Commission in the last 1 decade. The 2 publications are enclosed in your folders for this meeting and have already been uploaded to our website for public access. All that remains at this point is for me to pray that God may continue to bless our country and our democracy. It is now my pleasure to sign my official handing over notes and present the same to Mrs. May Agbambuchembu to do the same. And thereafter, I will hand over the handing over notes. And from that point, I will take my exit. So this may
ẹni òfò ni ẹ ṣòfò láyé ẹ tún sí lálìkìyàmà ẹ̀yin rádaràda wọ̀nyí. ẹni òfò ni ẹ ṣòfò láyé ẹ tún sí lálìkìyàmà ẹ̀yin rádaràda wọ̀nyí.
Yakubu, I told you he's going to write book. Now he just told us that he's already published 2 books. Want to tell you about elections in Nigeria in the last decade. The other I want to tell you about the technology they used in elections, the IRF and the BVAS. There's written a book on that, technology we used, the IRF that got shut down on the day of election. That's what they all do. You will see them once they have that chance and they contribute to the ruin, to the destruction, right? Then they'll publish a book and they'll tell you the solution to what they have created. Oh, if we should begin to do election this way, we should begin to do election that way. And like, Alaye, you've got 10 years. What would be your own legacy? What is your legacy? What are you leaving behind? Yakubu. but to the outsiders anyway. Here, a bit of a view on that.
Well, thank you. I think we must first congratulate Mamood Yakubu for staying as INEC chairman for a whole 10 years. But the general perception of his tenure was was disastrous by many Nigerians who expected so much because he promised so much and delivered so little. He has held sway. He has been more or less politically correct. He has been taciturn. He has been lethargic in the exercise of the immense powers of the Independent National Electoral Commission, which he held on to, and Nigerians needed to see that kind of gusto in punishing those who perpetrated electoral violence, electoral malpractices, even in his twilight in office, where there was blatant violation of campaign regulations. He just didn't say anything and didn't do anything. That scenario of the so much promise with regards to the electronic transmission of results that failed in the 2020 elections was more or less an unforgivable offense to Nigerians, and the man seems to care less. And despite all this, the fact that he got all the monies he needed, as you know, INEC enjoys a constitutional provision that says that all the monies it needed must be paid to it, directly from the Consolidated Revenue Fund. And then he exercised so much independence that nobody, no authority or person, not the president, could be expected to influence it. But Professor Mamood actually did not do well in the eyes of Nigerians. Well, Nigerians bid him well, but unfortunately, the legacy he leaves with is that of huge disappointment, and in this expectation that whoever will take over from him must have a lot to cure in the eyes of Nigerians as we speak. And that's unfortunate, because when you now look at the landscape of those who can possibly replace him, you go into history. We have a long line of restricted personalities, either justices, retired justices, or academics that have been appointed as chairmen of the Independent National Electoral Commission. Some of them who have been appointed outside this category have also not done so well. Reminiscent of the days of Professor Iwu, which thrown INEC as a very controversial body. Many Nigerians are very dissatisfied with the elections. However, I think as we move on to having a new chairman, we cannot expect anything less than the standard that has been set by former President Goodluck Jonathan, when he declared that I didn't even know the person that was recommended, probably from his consultations with the National Council of State, and the man, when he was appointed, I'm talking about Professor Tahiri Juga, did not disappoint, and in the two elections that he conducted. So that's the kind of high standard that is required. But mind you, Professor Juga cannot be wholesomely regarded as an academic. He was a civil society personality. So when we are, these academics, these non-institutional persons, when they come as INEC chairman, may not do very well. I still recall, I don't want to say that, but if you look at the history, whether it's of Whiskey or Justice Akpata, that semblance of that impartiality and independence that comes with their pedigree as justices, who has a way of igniting a perception of confidence in the process. So I think we should move on to a point where we think the institutional personalities should be appointed, persons who've been there, who have some kind of experience, who know the problem.
He has no job. Yes.
Before I go on, let me postulate from the Franz Fanonian dictum, which stipulates that the dialectics of reconciling two conflicting ideas is the algebra of revolution. The overbearing intervention of the state government had further exacerbated oporompium and amounting to sadomasochisms. Acrimony and chaos in our community. It was a contumelious stratagem by political jobbers to siphon monies, we suffer what we call political axivia non torum. Conclusively, we are a microcosm of the issues in the Niger Delta in the macrocosm. Today, we as a people are stating, voxe populi, voxe Dei.
70 years old man. 70 years old man.
Oh, talk. Still referring to the guy who was talking about Mamood, Yakubu. We need somebody from the, you don't have to know. We needed something like that of Jonathan. That he didn't even know anything about Jega. Jega was recommended to him, and he made him the INEC chairman. How did that end? How did that end? Jonathan became an example of how not to lose power. Tifnumbu and his gang continue to remind you that they are not Jonathan, and they will not be Jonathan. Tifnumbu will not wait for Council of State or anybody to recommend the INEC chairman for him. No, he won't. Are you trying to be funny? So of course, it's going to be business as usual. Everybody is going to begin to tell you the good thing about the criminal they are going to appoint as INEC chair is biases and every other thing that they needed. Everybody will point all of that out. While others who are very much aware of this character whatsoever, right, they will be there to polish the image. And in all of this, everybody will continue to drag that until they get to 2020, seven. Then you realize that you are actually playing by Tifnumbu's rule book. You are still going to use this, your fraudulent 1999 constitution. They are amending it right now. I don't know if some of you are aware. The content of the amendment, by the way. I don't know. Yeah, you've heard about the state creations. Yeah, they are amending constitution to make sure that they can create states. They are amending constitution so that they can create every other thing they wanted to create to further milk the system. And in all of that, they are not touching election at all. No, they are not. So the rule remains, the distractions continues until the last hour. And then everybody will just be like, hey, they want to rig us, they have rigged us, but it will be too late. Just saying. You get what I mean now? So if there's anything that is going to take place at all before anything else, right, it will be like 10, 20 million man march across the country, demanding from the clowns in the National Assembly, right, to deal with what will determine how your 2027 charade is going to be conducted and all of that. Like, seriously, give them the taste of what is likely going to come if they decided to change the rule of the game in the middle of the game like they did the last time. Anything short of that is just like, nobody shall they do anything in no. Everybody knows what they are doing. That's the point. So the coalition guys, one of them, their secretary, Aregbe Mubaba Kabiru, who I shared this clip with us, I think 2 days ago or so. So he had an encounter at that same, occasion, right? He had an encounter with Solodump, who phoned in from the government house. And it was pretty, they were talking about INEC, they're talking about elections and your 2027 and all that. That was when Aregbe Mugbo said the power to appoint the INEC chair shouldn't be given to one man like Tifnumbu, the press idiot, right? But it should be probably transferred to the political parties with the least members of the National Assembly, at least 5. There were other conversations. So Solodom said, this ADC guys tried to come and hijack his state in the last parliamentary by-elections, right, across Nigeria. and the encounter was captured. So I want to share that with you.
I think this conversation has provided all kinds of, nuggets of ideas, which I think all of us must get to work. We must get to work. And part of the thing I encourage as part of our public conversation, and I think people know me for that, I say it the way I say it. Not many people like it that way. Is that we must be able to say it in whatever context where we are. It's not only when we are not favored. We must say it. When we are favored, we say it's all okay. We keep quiet. Then when the thing turns the other way, and probably we are in opposition, then all of a sudden nothing now works in the entire country. But we were there before. And so I want to encourage genuine national search for solutions. And where we see this doesn't work, the rigging takes place at the collation centers. That's what Chidoka has mentioned. It's usually after the ward collation. That's where this rigging takes place. Let's nip it there. Let's collect it there and upload it right away. That's one bit. If we collect it and upload it right away from there, from that collation center, everything else, like he said, is addition and subtraction. That's one big progress made. Have we made progress relative to 2007? Relative to what we had in the past? Absolutely. I have no doubt in it because I was part of this whole process. Even in, like I said, 2007, printing of ballot papers that we had to go to South Africa and the mess that happened there. We've made progress. I can rate it, how we have gone, but we still have a long way to go. I want a system where nobody needs to know anybody in INEC or a police or a security agent and win an election. Yes, the legal system needs reforms as well in terms of courts and the technicalities versus the will of the people. And that's also got to get to how we have to reform our laws. Our electoral laws will also need reforms because so that these guys don't get onto this kind of interesting interpretations. Leave it to technicalities, as it were. So, summary, thank you, Athena Center, for igniting this. And we hope that this is only an important beginning and that all stakeholders, political parties, all of us, at the base level, we take responsibility for the failings of the system because we are all in it. Just like, I needed to leave this with my brother, who is the secretary of ADC. As the moderator said, ADC has just emerged as a new force or group. But look at, immediately after they arrived at the first outing, at least in my own state, in Anambra, the record is that the same thing we are here complaining about and so on and so forth. It's ADC that went to thumbprint papers before the election. So I'm sure that is not the ADC that you want to sell to Nigeria. And that is the point I'm making, that all of us are culpable. All of us must get down to this reform thing. Because when you point one finger forward, we say here in my part of the world, you look closely, there are 3 of them pointing down to you. Let's get it done together because a new Nigeria is not only possible, it's inevitable. As you said, for the sake of the black race. Thank you very much.
In the best traditions of the Athena Center and of course journalism, I must give Mr. Arebeshola the right of reply.
Well, I thank Athena for this opportunity and I thank the eminent personalities there. It's well attended. Great women and men. I commend you for your time and sacrifice as we are thanking Athena. I refuse to respond to Governor Anambra because to me, it's not even an issue. It's not an issue because how am I sure that what he keeps on repeating and harping upon was not orchestrated by him? How are we sure? How are we sure? So it could, I mean, from all indications and seeing the gusto which is repeating this matter, I want to believe that what is making reference to by our own tradition and what we seek to do, it can never happen from us. Our commitment is to reset the polity and benchmark the best practices